people who quit their jobs on the first day, what was your I'm out of here moment? I answered an ad for a babysitting job when I was about 22. I already had a casual job at a small cafe, but the hours were all over the place. Some weeks I worked 3 days, some weeks none at all. I figured some evening babysitting would be a good way to fill the gaps and make a bit of extra cash. The ad sounded straightforward enough. A couple with a 6-month-old baby needed a sitter a few nights a week, mostly when they were working late. They lived about 20 minutes out of town, so I caught a bus there one afternoon after my cafe shift to meet them. The woman, Sarah, greeted me at the door wearing a military uniform. She looked sharp, serious, and very tired. Her husband, Mark, was in the same uniform. They both worked on the nearby base. The house was spotless. Not cozy, not homey, just sterile. I remember noticing how quiet it was, even with the baby monitor hissing softly in the background. They sat me down at the dining table like it was an interview. Sarah explained that their schedules were unpredictable and that sometimes they'd both be away overnight. "We're looking for someone dependable," she said. "Someone who can be available when we need them." I nodded, thinking they just meant the occasional long shift. I said I was happy to help out evenings and some weekends. That's when things started to sound strange. Mark said, "We'd really prefer you live in." I blinked, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. He pointed down the hallway and said, "We have a spare room. You'd stay there. That way we wouldn't have to worry about pickups or drop-offs, and you'd always be on hand." Sarah chimed in, "You'd basically just become part of the household. We'll cover your meals, of course." Then she started listing off duties, watching the baby round the clock, doing the housework, laundry, cleaning, cooking when needed. She said I'd have 1 day off every 2 weeks, but only if their schedules allowed it. I just stared at her. She must have read my face because she quickly added, "You'd get cash in hand, of course." "How much?" I asked. Sarah and Mark exchanged a look. "About $200 a week," he said. "But since it's cash, you could still sign on to the dole to make up the rest. That's what most people do." I thought I'd misheard him. Sarah nodded like it was totally normal. "Yeah, that way it balances out. We can't really afford a full-time nanny, so it's a win-win." A win-win for them, maybe. I sat there trying to process it. They were basically offering me a live-in nanny and maid position for less than what I made in 2 days at the cafe, and suggesting I commit fraud to make it work. Mark must have taken my silence as hesitation about the baby because he started explaining how easy their son was. "He sleeps through the night now," he said, even as the baby monitor crackled with crying from another room. Sarah excused herself to go check on him. I stood up, heart pounding, because I knew I was done. When she came back, I said, "I don't think this is what I was looking for." She frowned. "You don't want to think about it?" "No," I said. "I think you're looking for someone full-time, and that's not what I do." Mark looked frustrated. "It's not full-time if you live here," he said, like he was explaining something obvious to a child. I grabbed my bag. "Yeah, it is," I said. Sarah followed me to the door, trying to sound casual. "You sure? It's really steady work, and honestly, most people don't mind once they get used to it." I smiled as politely as I could manage and said, "I'm sure." The second I stepped outside, I could feel the air again. My hands were shaking, half from disbelief, half from anger. They wanted someone to give up their life for scraps, and they thought it was generous because they'd cover meals. I didn't even make it to the end of their driveway before I started laughing. The kind of tired, incredulous laugh you let out when you realize how close you just came to getting trapped in someone else's bad idea. When I got home, I called my best friend, told her the whole thing, and we both sat there cackling. It still makes me shake my head to this day. Sarah and Mark didn't want a babysitter. They wanted a housemaid, a nanny, and a servant all rolled into one, and they wanted the government to unknowingly help pay for it. That was the first and only babysitting job I ever walked out of before it started.